Hi, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, the mascot for the level-headed fanboy, and at the time of recording, it was yesterday that I had the absolute pleasure of attending the Sonic Symphony's matinee performance at the Barbican Center. This was the very first performance of the Sonic Symphony World Tour. Before that, we obviously had the 2021 live-streamed version, which was followed by a version of the Sonic Symphony at the Brazil Game Show, but this was the first official performance of the Sonic Symphony World Tour. The reason being, it's a different overall music set, and I think this is the version that they will be taking around the world, with maybe slight alterations. I'll get into that shortly. All in all, though, it was a fantastic day. I loved the performances, I met some really awesome people, as well as getting the chance to meet up with my old Summer of Sonic 2016 crew. I do want to give a quick shout out to Webster and Mr. Terry Chaos, longtime supporters. We hung out for most of the day and they are absolutely awesome people. I loved hanging out with them. Now, if you intend on attending a Sonic Symphony performance and just want to go in blind, then I suggest you refrain from watching this video, as I will be revealing the set list, everything that's included, as well as discussing some choice omissions. I'll be showing you some snippets that I recorded on my phone and just discussing overall how this event played out. So as I say, you want to go in blind? This isn't the video for you. But I'll say it was a fantastic event and was well worth the money.
Mamma mia, you made it this far into the video and you still haven't subscribed? What in the name of spaghetti and meatballs is this all about?
Hey, f*** you boy, why you not subscribe to the channel, Pup, yeah? And click at the link in the Patreon in the description below, or I'll f***ing kill you, boy. Don't f***ing test me.
That's so unspicy meatball.
Yes, it is.
I was sat on the upper balcony nearer the back and was able to get an excellent view of the stage. This may not be true of all venues, but it was certainly true of the Barbican Center. Ahead of the show, there were Sonic-related things to do in the lobby of the Barbican Center. There was a merch stand, and I was able to get a Sonic Symphony t-shirt for 30 quid, which is a lot, but as far as concert shirt goes, it's about what I'd expect. They also had baseball caps and posters, so if you are on more of a budget and you do want to get a memento, there was stuff available. However, merchandise very quickly sold out for the first performance, and no new stock was bought in for the second performance of the night. The organizers have released a statement on this, and the most likely outcome is that the merchandise will go on sale online, but the organizers have been very transparent about this, which I can really appreciate. Also in the lobby was Sonic himself. Yep, fans could line up to meet their favorite Hedgehog, and he was looking just terrific. I made sure to get a picture with him. There was a bit of a queue consisting of mostly grown adults, that's the magic of Sonic, and the queue organization could have been a bit better as it was more just a crowd of people gathered round hoping to get their picture next, but hey, it's the first show. These things will likely get ironed out for later shows. I'm not going to hold that against anybody. For the show itself, they had a countdown timer on screen for when the show was about to begin, so the audience weren't left in the dark as to when everything was about to start. In fact, there were no delays whatsoever. On that screen, gameplay from games relating to the music of the symphony would play. Really nicely curated stuff with some really fun comedic timing with the music. So you've got two sets with an intermission in between. The show runs at 2.5 hours, which includes a 20-minute intermission between the two halves. The first half consisting of strictly orchestral arrangements, and the second half consisting of the Sonic Symphony House Rock Band performing mostly vocal tracks. So I'm now going to go through each track on the set list. They have changed things up from the 2021 version, so you'll know what to expect if you're watching this video. So the show begins with the Sonic the Hedgehog 1 medley, which consists of an arrangement of all of the tracks from that first game. It's unchanged from the 2021 version. It's a terrific arrangement, sure to give goosebumps. However, for this matinee showing, there was an unfortunate technical hitch as the screen behind the orchestra began glitching, which was a bit distracting. However, this error was just contained purely to that first track. Chalk it up to growing pains, I guess. We followed that up with the Sonic 2 medley, which again is unchanged from the 2021 version. Unlike the Sonic 1 medley, it's purely just a selection of tracks from Sonic 2 rather than the entire game, which makes sense given that Sonic 2's soundtrack is around double the size of Sonic 1's. I won't lie, I did get a little emotional when the Sonic 2 ending theme started to play, with the ending of the game appearing on the big screen. It took me right back to when I was a tiny kid and I finally beat Sonic 2. Sonic 2's ending has always been emotionally resonant, and seeing it play on a big screen with an orchestra arrangement definitely hit surprisingly hard. We then have the Game Gear medley, consisting of tracks from Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Drift, Triple Trouble, and Tails Adventure. Now, the Sega Saturn medley from the 2021 version was sadly cut, however, in its place we have a Sonic CD medley, which is new to this version of the show. It consists of tracks from the Japanese Sonic CD soundtrack, and I am wondering if for the USA performances, they'll be replacing that with the USA versions. I'm excited to see, in footage of course, I'm not made of money. That'd be awesome though, right? Now sadly, the Sonic 3 and Knuckles medley has been cut and replaced with an extended arrangement of the Sky Sanctuary Zone, and I didn't know if this was done to allow more time for the other new tracks added, but I think the Sky Sanctuary arrangement was just as long as the Sonic 3 and Knuckles medley. It's odd. Sonic 3 and Knuckles gets axed for, oops, all Sky Sanctuary. However, I can't fault the performance and the arrangement. It sounded beautiful, and was accompanied by video footage showcasing the many different iterations of Sky Sanctuary, from Sonic 3, Generations, and Frontiers. The footage of Generations elicited a massive cheer from the audience, so it is nice to see that that game is still getting love over 10 years on and is a crowd favorite. Also greeted by a huge deal of cheers, we have the Sonic Mania medley, consisting of Studiopolis, Press Garden, and Titanic Monarch, the original level themes from Sonic Mania, excluding Mirage Saloon. I think my favorite part of this medley is the orchestral rendition of the Titanic Monarch theme. The themes for Titanic Monarch have always been so foreboding and unwelcoming, and they feel right at home with a symphony orchestra. The conductor then announces that we're moving into the 3D era, and it begins with Sonic Adventure. Now, this is a testament to my sheer geekness, but the footage displayed on screen for the Sonic Adventure portion was not from Sonic Adventure DX, but the original Dreamcast version, so that's some really nice curation there. For Sonic Adventure, we have arrangements of Believe in Myself and It Doesn't Matter played back to back. They're predominantly the Sonic Adventure 1 versions, but with some nods to the Sonic Adventure 2 versions here and there. It's great to see Tails take the lead here. I feel like he really was the true star of Sonic Adventure. Then for Sonic Adventure 2, we had a Chow Garden medley. This is not the same as what was heard during the intermission for the 2021 stream, but instead arrangements of different tracks that play in the different areas of the Chow Garden, including the races, the karate, even the school, with footage on screen eliciting laughter from the audience as Dr. Eggman brings his Chow to Chow School. Now from here, the set is completely different from the 2021 version, with the 06, Unleashed, Colors, Lost World, and Forces medleys being axed. Which is a bit of a shame, as I do think the 06 and Unleashed medleys were one of the highlights of the 2021 version, but Unleashed still does get its due representation, which once again garnered a great deal of cheers from the audience. It's clear when a crowd favorite is on screen. For Unleashed, we have an arrangement of Rooftop Run that transitions into the classic Rooftop Run from Sonic Generations, which is great because the classic version of Rooftop Run is incredibly catchy and also pretty overlooked. So you kinda have Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Generations bundled into one here. Then for Sonic Colors Ultimate as the footage indicated, we have arrangements of Aquarium Park and Planet Wisp, and to be honest, those are my favorite tracks from that game. Aside from Terminal Velocity, definitely the Ultimate remix as well, but that's fine, we're gonna be getting plenty of Jun Senoi later on. But for Sonic Colors, I was pretty much pleased as punch with what was done here. Yes, the original version had the orchestral theme of Sonic Colors play. Here we're getting just more of a symphonic cover of Sonic Colors' level tracks, which is honestly a real nice change of pace. Plus, it's a lot shorter than that otherwise very cinematic overture that Sonic Colors has. And that brings us to the grand finale of the orchestral segment. That brings us to the Sonic Frontiers medley, which once again elicited a cheer from the crowd. This consists of the theme of the Starfall Islands, which sounds gorgeous fully orchestrated, Flowing, the one from Cyberspace 1-2, and I'm Here, which was goosebump-inducing. And that closes out the first half. Despite some technical hitches at the start, the first half of the Sonic Symphony was a beautiful, emotional roller coaster. And while there are some disappointing omissions, the new arrangements including the Sonic CD medley, Classic Rooftop Run, and the Chow medley really make up for the absence of some of those other medleys. It's just a shame we didn't get to hear My Destiny from Sonic 06 because that sounded gorgeous in the 2021 version. The Chow medley was a really nice light-hearted tonal shift, and it's especially funny that this represents Sonic Adventure 2 for this first half. Given that Sonic Adventure 2 is probably one of the more intense Sonic games here, and it's represented purely by the goofy Chow antics. However, Sonic Adventure 2 fans, don't be disappointed by that because Sonic Adventure 2 gets major representation in the second half. For the first half, since it's strictly an orchestral symphony, it's only manners to keep quiet, cheer when it's appropriate, just take in the show. It'll be disrespectful to sing along. However, for that second half, it shifts into kind of party mode effectively, and the audience are encouraged to sing along. The Sonic Symphony House Rock Band come out, and for the London and LA shows, they are joined by Jun Sonoe and Tomoyo Otani. Now, I didn't quite know what to expect from Tomoyo Otani and Jun Sonoe, as when they were announced, they were referred to as guests in attendance, so I didn't know if they'd actually be performing, but nonetheless, Sonoe played the electric guitar for his tracks, and Otani played the bass for his. I don't know who the vocalist is. It's definitely not Johnny Gioeli. I believe he's a part of the band that traveled with the Sonic Symphony World Tour. However, I have to say, he did an absolutely excellent job. He provided vocals for a variety of tracks, including Crush 40, Cash Cash, and many other tracks with different vocal requirements. He did great. He also really knew how to work the crowd. Hats off to him, he was terrific. Another change from the 2021 version is that the orchestra play along with all of the vocal tracks, as opposed to just a selection of them, which really brought an incredible sense of scale to these tracks. They've never gone harder. So the set begins with I Am All of Me from Shadow the Hedgehog, really setting the tone for this second half with some of that Shadow representation, and the crowd were absolutely loving it. Following that, we have some Sonic Heroes representation with What I'm Made Of, which I remember being the encore track for Summer of Sonic 2016. Now it's relegated to just track number 2, but there's still so much more to come. Following that, we have Open Your Heart, which is of course a fantastic track. I noticed we'd switched to Sonic Adventure DX footage for the background of this one, so people who grew up with DX, this is your bit of rep. Then we have Night of the Wind from Sonic and the Black Knight, which elicited massive cheers, clearly a crowd favorite with people singing along. Then, really cementing the high-energy party atmosphere, we have arguably one of the most iconic tracks in Sonic history, Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure 2. Absolute goosebumps as the entire crowd was singing along with every lyric. It was absolutely wonderful hearing this arrangement. I'd previously seen the Sonic Generations classic version of this played at Jammin' with Jun at Summer of Sonic 2016, and that was already very exciting. But hearing that high-energy, original version of this track, played with an orchestra in tow, was something of a religious experience. And this closes out the Jun Sonoe portion of the concert. They then bring out Tomoyo Otani up on stage to perform with the band, and the first track in his set is His World from Sonic 06. Now, I'm real sorry, I cannot remember specifics here, but one of the fellows on one of the guitars provided the rap vocals for His World, and it sounded fantastic. It was great seeing Sonic 06 getting some rep after all, and accompanied with the symphony orchestra, it felt like this gorgeous mashup of His World and Solaris Phase 2. It was wonderful. Then this is followed up with the Sonic Colors Ultimate arrangement of Reach for the Stars, which the crowd were all singing along with. It was a really nice high-energy performance. The next one was quite a big surprise, but Sonic Forces got some representation with a live performance of Fist Bump. And while that song is like the most high-energy toy commercial you'll ever hear, it has to be said, I love Fist Bump. It's an absolute anthem, and played with an orchestra in tow, it goes really hard. We follow that up with the track I was looking forward to the most, Endless Possibilities, and it did not disappoint. The crowd erupted for this one, suggesting another crowd favorite, and I can absolutely see why. Endless Possibilities is one of the best tracks in the entire franchise, and hearing it live with an orchestra was just an incredible experience. Endless Possibilities was the first Sonic vocal track I'd ever heard, as Sonic Unleashed was my first 3D Sonic game, so again, this was a bit of an emotional experience for me. But just when I thought it couldn't get any more exciting, the singer asked the crowd if we want to hear some Sonic Frontiers music, and everyone was screaming and whooping, wondering what they'd play, and just like that, Break Through It All began playing. And I just couldn't contain my excitement here. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was hoping we'd hear a Titan theme. It was something I was talking about quite a lot before the performance, but I wasn't taking it for granted. And that song as it is goes so relentlessly hard. The Titan themes in Sonic Frontiers are some of the hardest tracks in the franchise. Then pair that up with the orchestra, and it's just insane. This closes out the Otani part of the show before we move into the final 2 tracks. Jin Tsunui returns to the stage for the grand finale and performs for us the full theme of Sonic Superstars, and I think this soundtrack is going to be something special. Jin Tsunui and T. Lopes have really been cooking in the kitchen. It's the track that we heard in the opening cutscene, however it's a much longer extended version of it, and it sounds terrific. And that brings us to the very final track of the show. And you can probably guess what it is. If you're a Sonic fan, you can guess what they're closing out with. It's the quintessential Sonic vocal track that has everyone singing Live and Learn from Sonic Adventure 2. A truly show-stopping climax to the performance. The crowd singing along with every lyric, the 2 super hedgehogs taking down the final hazard on screen, it all just goes so hard. And with that, the band, the orchestra, the composers and conductors all take their bows as the audience erupted with a standing ovation before we all left the auditorium. So like the first half, there were still a few omissions from this one that were included in the 2021 version, which were Speak With Your Heart, Sonic Boom, Sonic Heroes, and Green Light Ride. However, any omissions were made for time's sake, as a 2.5-hour slot will have been agreed with the venue, and I do think this was probably the best possible set for this version of the show. Like, for example, I'd definitely rather have Break Through It All than Green Light Ride. And I'd rather have Fist Bump than, say, Speak With Your Heart, so it's a fair trade in my opinion. The highlights of the show for me were Escape from the City, Endless Possibilities, Break Through It All, and Live and Learn. And then for the first half, it's really hard to pick a highlight because it's all just fantastic. I mean, it's all fantastic in the second half, but like, it's difficult to pick a highlight because these are medleys of like some of the best tracks from these games. I guess I'd go for the Sonic CD medley because you've got like Stardust Speedway in there, and Sonic CD just has a very bouncy soundtrack to it, you know, so it made for a very catchy performance. So that was the Sonic Symphony, and what an absolutely incredible show that was. For a Sonic fan, this is probably the quintessential live experience. You're experiencing not only the music that's defined Sonic through the ages, but the biggest versions of it in a celebration of the franchise's history, surrounded by Sonic fans who, trust me, are not like how they are on Twitter, thank God. So real sorry guys, I think I am going to refrain from the patron shoutouts. My voice is in a lot of pain right now, but I am going to play this video out with some snippets from the show's second half that I captured, so enjoy.